All right, guys, it's time for Tanner and I to give out the top 5 spread bets on Sunday in NFL Week 11. We have been killing the spreads so far this NFL season, and we are here to double back once again. Week 11, top 5 from each of us. We do not talk about these. I don't know what Tanner picked. He doesn't know what I picked. So we're just going to run through them one by one, see if we line up. Hey, maybe we're on opposite sides. And it's for you guys, the viewers, to ultimately decide where do you want to go with it and who do you think has the better take here. So, Tanner, I'll get us started. I'll take us back to, I believe, Monday Night Football in Week 1. It was a primetime game, Bears-Vikings. In this rematch here, you got the Vikings favored by 3 points at home, and that's where I'm going to be going in this game here. So I want to start by saying the Ben Johnson effect is real in Chicago. I know there were concerns that he's just going to be one of these offensive geniuses who proves that he's only a coordinator. He can't be a head coach. The Ben Johnson's Bears are fighting for him right now. They've won 6 of their last 7 games. They did have to make a comeback, but they still made that comeback against the Giants. They did make a comeback against the Bengals. But I am looking at these games, and again, the last 3, you lose 30-16 to Cooper Rush and the Ravens. You have to come back against the Bengals. You give up 42 points. You have to come back against the Giants. Not taking it away from them because they are improving. They are getting better. Caleb Williams is playing better, even though he's still not great. But the Vikings, I always call them the best coach team in the NFL. They are at home. They've already beaten the Bears by 3 points this season in what was J.J. McCarthy's first start of his NFL career. Still don't like J.J., but if there's a coordinator out there who can confuse Caleb Williams, it is going to be Brian Flores. So I see this being kind of an ugly game, maybe for both offenses, but Vikings find a way to win, just again on account of their coaching.
This is also one of my plays, Grant. So we're in the same boat here. I love Minnesota in this spot. I think, against the Ravens, it just wasn't necessarily a good matchup for them. J.J. McCarthy is good enough to be competitive and just game manage his way to a win here. But it's really the defense of the Vikings. You looked at how the Vikings played early in the game against the Baltimore Ravens. They were pretty good. Against the Lions, they were fantastic. I think they can return to that. And the Chicago Bears, too. You come from behind last week. If you get in a situation like that against the Minnesota Vikings and you don't come out right away and play well, you're going to struggle here. So I think it's a good spot laying the 3 points at home with the Vikings.
Okay. I don't know. Normally we can kind of guess what we're going to have on each other's cards. I didn't think you were going to have that one. I think you might have a couple of others on mine. So I'll tell you what, I'll give you my next one. And then if it's the same again, you can go first on the next time around. I will take the Chargers -2.5 at the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jags were a defensive team to start the year. They had the number 1 defense in football through the first 4 weeks of the season. Since that point, they are 29th in EPA per play, which is my favorite stat for measuring defenses. And Trevor Lawrence genuinely looks like one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. You've got Cam Ward, you've got Dylan Gabriel. And then honestly, you've got Trevor Lawrence. There's not a whole lot of other people in that class. Spencer Rattler looked better than he did. Tyler Shuck looked great in his one game. So I don't know if it's you can't say it's over for Trevor Lawrence because they paid him $250 million. They're going to stick with him. But Liam Cohen's supposed to be this offensive guy. He has not unlocked the offense. Brian Thomas Jr. probably returning from his injury, but even when he was there, he didn't have a great impact. Jacoby Myers didn't change lives. And again, their defense is on a very quick downward spiral. Meanwhile, we talk about the Chargers like they're crap. They're still 7-3, despite them having the worst offensive line in football. They're better on offense. They're better on defense. They got a better coach, and they got a better quarterback. So I don't care they're on the road. I'll take the Chargers.
I am also on the Chargers, Grant. So we were pretty spot on there. No really other explanations. The Jaguars are not a good football team. Chargers. The thing with Chargers, though, you get an extremely inconsistent team. Like they're really good at home when teams have to travel across the country because that's when I've gotten hurt by them the most this season. I'm going against them when they have to travel across the country, not necessarily a team that I believe is going to take care of business. But the Jaguars, when you have a 98% chance to win a game in the fourth quarter, you need to win those games. Like there's just no excuse for that. A lot of people are drooling over Liam Cohen right now as a head coach. I don't necessarily see it as much. And I think the Jaguars are just overall our team that people forget about. But I'm right there with you. Trevor Lawrence is not that guy.
All right. Well, since I did the first two and we had the same ones, why don't you lead us off here with number 3?
You might have, you probably don't have this one because I'm going against your team here.
Okay.
And I could be on the total wrong side of this play. And realistically, the Commanders played a lot better against the Lions than I expected them to. Would you agree with that?
No, no.
They actually put up some points early.
Oh, well, the offense was never my concern. The offense is fine. Well, I shouldn't say fine, but like the offense can be at what you would need to cover from a spread. It's the defense you got to worry about.
So that's my thing here. You look at the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins are the most interesting run franchise. Like they must just really like Mike McDaniel as head coach. Like they just may think his vibe's good. I'm not sure. I think the fans like Mike McDaniel, at least like fans who aren't in Miami, like driving past the elbow room after the game and chirping Bills fans. Like that's awesome. I don't know if you saw that video and picture circulating the internet, but I'll take the Miami Dolphins -2.5. My biggest fear in this game is in Madrid. You just never know what you're going to get. But when I'm looking through just the talent on the Dolphins side of the ball, offensively and defensively, they are better than the Washington Commanders right now with Marcus Mariota playing quarterback. So Tua, 17 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, not the best stats there. He is going to turn the ball over. I don't believe the Commanders are going to be able to force turnovers, though. Last week against the Bills, 15-21, 173, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. They still found a way to win 30-13, and that's because they ran the ball so effectively. Devon Achane, 174 rushing yards, 22 rushing attempts. Like the best way to get Tua going is to run the football. We talked about it. Miami's really struggled with that at times this season. But I do think they're going to be able to go in and run the ball against the Commanders. And on the flip side, Washington, like how many more bad losses can you handle? Like I know this is one that you can come out and potentially win, but you've just got stomped on week after week. You're not healthy. You're losing guys on both sides of the ball. I just think Miami's the momentum that they have after that Bills win is going to carry in here, knowing they can keep stacking wins, knowing that Mike McDaniel's still there. Obviously, he's not getting fired. So I think at 2.5, it's a really good bet. But the Commanders could also win this game too. Like I'm not saying they can't. I just don't think they're going to be able to shut down Miami defensively.
This is an all-time stay away game for me because, I mean, even just 2 or 3 weeks ago, you would have favored the Commanders by a touchdown. And now it's the Dolphins that are favored by creeping up to a field goal. The Commanders, talking about them getting pounded week after week, they are only the second team in NFL history to lose 4 straight games by at least 3 touchdowns. It's only happened one other time. So they are on the worst run in NFL history right now. There's 7.9 net yards allowed per pass attempt, which is yards per attempt, and then you factor in sack yards. It's the worst in the NFL since 1981. They are playing horrendously, and it is that defense side of the football. Again, the offense plays well enough to be competitive from a spread standpoint, even to win games. With the Dolphins, they've blown out the Bills, got annihilated by the Ravens, and then blew out the Falcons. So they're not consistent. We also know they are a terrible team, even though they've shown more life recently. Whereas the Commanders playing some of the worst football in the history of the NFL. Dan Quinn taking over as defensive coordinator going into this week, so he'll be calling plays. Does that really matter? Who knows? Because you've lost your top 3 edge rushers, your top 2 corners, your top safety. There's so much wrong with both of these teams that I cannot give a pick on this game.
But who's going to win?
Well, it's only a 2.5 point line, so it's kind of yeah. I would say the Commanders win.
Interesting.
And that's not me being a fan, because me being a fan is me wanting them to lose, because I want them to get a better draft pick.
I think you could tease the Commanders up, and that's a nice way to start your Sunday.
Tease them up to, it would be like what, 9.5?
Yeah, 9.5. I think that's a good way to start your Sunday. But
I don't know. They've lost 4 straight by 21.
You are right about that. You are right. I don't know. Like it's so hard to factor in motivation. Like I think the Miami Dolphins, as much as the narrative that's gotten out about how the locker room's not good and all that, like they're dancing in the laundry carts after they beat the Bills. Like this is a team that still seems like they like each other.
Yeah.
Dan Quinn's like lost the Commanders, I think, Grant.
Deron Payne, forgot to mention, he's suspended from this game because he punched Amon-Ra.
That's the dumbest thing. Like, I don't know. Your IQ is so low if you punch somebody with a helmet on.
What do you think is going to happen?
You have a better chance of injuring yourself than you do of injuring the player.
That's what I'm saying. You're more likely to break your hand than you are to actually hurt them.
Like tackle him and pile drive him in the ground. Like don't don't throw a punch with his helmet on. So yeah, your Commanders just are a low IQ football team, Grant. So I can't. Dan Quinn, like going from like Coach of the Year candidate to where he is now is crazy. He won Coach of the Year last year.
No, who won?
He really should have.
He should have. Yeah. Coach of the Year NFL. It was Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah, he should have. It should have been Dan Quinn, but we don't factor in playoffs. So, but yeah. Anyways, I don't think your Commanders are very good. I think you're not very healthy. I don't trust Marcus Mariota. I trust Tua and Achane and Waddle more than I do anyone you guys got. So that would be my play there.
I have no clue what's going to happen in that game. I do have a clue about this game though, which is quietly. I get it's the NFC West, and the NFC West doesn't always get the most publicity. They don't always get the most airtime on TV, but this is going to be one of the best games this NFL season. At least it should be. You got the Seattle Seahawks taking on the Los Angeles Rams. Both teams are playing extraordinarily well right now. The Seahawks have won 7 of their last 8. They are on a 4-game winning streak. The Rams have won 4 straight. They are 7-2. This will determine who is in first place in the division. Matthew Stafford, I forget the exact stat. He's the first player in NFL history he's the first player in NFL history to have it's 4+ touchdowns, no interceptions, and something else in 3 straight games. The point is, he's playing out of his mind. Sam Darnold, to some people, it's the leading MVP candidate. Jack Smith-Njigba, the leading Offensive Player of the Year candidate. That also brings into consideration is Jonathan Taylor going for MVP. Is he going for Offensive Player of the Year? But point being, genuinely 2 of the best teams in the NFL. I am going to take the Rams just because as much as I love Mike McDonald, I do think Sean McVay is a little more capable on both sides of the football. There's also been a lot of talk about how the Seahawks have been using a lot of heavy personnel to unlock a lot of their play action passing game. I think the Rams, their personnel group allows them to be more prepared for that. And in the event this becomes a shootout, Stafford should very easily be in MVP conversations as well. He's first in touchdowns, 4th in yards, 6th in QBR, 25 TDs to 2 interceptions. Darnold is playing well, but he's not playing that well. And I just don't think he can hit that level. So with LA being at home, they get my nod here.
I like it. This is probably a stay away from me just because you look at the Seahawks. They are beating teams into the ground. Whatever Darnold did in the second half last week was unacceptable. I mean, he started his game with 10 fantasy points and he finished with like 4. He was horrendous there. But I look at the Rams. They're a better team overall. They beat the San Francisco 49ers into the ground defensively. There were some weaknesses, especially in the secondary. Like Mac Jones had a really good day. I think this is like a shootout. I think this resembles kind of what we saw from Seahawks Bucks earlier in the season. And I'd probably lean over 48.5 if I had to make a play. I don't really mess around with totals too much, but that would be where I lean.
Yeah, sorry. I'm just looking at these results. So Rams win by 16, win by 24, win by 28, win by 14. And then the Seahawks win by 22, win by 24, win by 8, win by 8. So it's been comfortable for both teams over the last month.
Definitely. All right, Grant, you ready?
Yep, let's do it.
Chiefs minus 3.5 on the road against the Denver Broncos.
Is on my list as well.
It's a hard one not to play just when you look at the situation for the Chiefs. You come off a bad loss to the Bills. Now you get a bye week and you get Andy Reid off a bye, who is 22-4 in games after a bye week. He's 9-3 with the Kansas City Chiefs. We talked about it last night going into last night's game with the Philadelphia Eagles. That's why you take the Eagles coming off the bye, chance to get healthy. Like this is where I think the Chiefs just become the different team. Like this is where they really turn it up and make their playoff push. It's a division game. They're on the road against the team who is leading their division right now that you have to win in order to make the playoffs. I will trust Patrick Mahomes 100% of the time. The 3.5-point spread is also something I think the books are doing to try to get you to draw to the Broncos as the home dog here. I think the Chiefs are going to beat them by 10+ points. I think they're going to be ready to go here. Patrick Mahomes is playing well, obviously playing at an MVP level. The defense has come along a lot. And then Rashee Rice makes his team just a different beast. And when you look at the Denver Broncos, their biggest issue has been the inconsistent offensive play from Bo Nix and company. So I think the Broncos defense can keep the score down for a while, but I don't expect Bo Nix to put up a ton of points against the Chiefs, and therefore I will lay the points with KC.
Yeah, like I said, I'm also taking the Chiefs by I would say by Reed. Andy Reid on a bye week plays a big part in it, like you laid out there. Bo Nix as well. I get it that I'm a Commanders fan, so I'm a Jaden Daniels guy. This is not some sort of bias against him. He's just not been good, and I've been trying to say that for a long time. But last week against the Raiders, 150, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. The week before that against the Texans, 173 yards. He's turned the ball over in 3 straight games. His one good start to finish game was 3 weeks ago against the Cowboys, but the Cowboys do have the worst pass defense in the NFL, arguably. The week before that, he's terrible almost the entire game, then plays a sensational fourth quarter against the Giants. Not going to take that away from him. The week before that, he's awful against the Jets. He borderline got outplayed by Justin Fields, who had 54 yards. So what does that really say about him? Week before that, again, terrible the whole game until the fourth quarter against the Eagles. Then you get to a good game against the Bengals, but then he was bad against the Chargers, bad against the Colts, bad against the Titans to start the year. So, the Broncos have won 7 straight games. I'm not calling them a bad team. You can't say that. They arguably have the best defense in the NFL. But this is a game, whenever you play the Chiefs, you need someone on your offense to make plays. And it's not going to be J.K. Dobbins. He might get his 70, 80 yards, but he's not going to change the game. It's not going to be Cortland Sutton. It's not going to be Troy Franklin. It's not going to be whoever you want. It's going to have to be the quarterback when you play Patrick Mahomes in this offense, and he's not going to do that. He showed you that at every turn this season. Also, Chiefs defense can be a top 10 unit in the NFL, especially coming off of a bye week. I don't think I say this like every show, but my top 3 minds on defense are Mike McDonald, Brian Flores, and Steve Spagnuolo. So I think the Chiefs will control this game start to finish, probably end up winning by about 10 points.
Chiefs money line, perfect little parlay piece on your Sunday afternoon there, 426. Can't beat it. Okay. Grant, do you want to go with your 5th? Because you had the same one, and then I'll go with my 5th. We might have the same one again.
Although you honestly might have this. You don't normally like taking the small teams like I do. You like the heavy hitters, and I took a lot of heavy hitters this week. So I'll close it out with the Lions plus 1.5 at the Eagles. Is that yours?
Yeah.
Yeah, figured as much. Yeah, the Lions are just flat out a better football team than the Philadelphia Eagles are right now. The Eagles, I get it. They find ways to win, and you cannot take that away from them. You really can't. Not saying they're a bad team. It's just you have no clue what's going to happen with them every week. They are on a historic rate for 3 and outs on offense right now, which is insane considering the amount of talent they have, considering they're paying more money to their offense than any team in the league. But I mean, Saquon Barkley is averaging less than 4 yards per carry. Jalen Hurts, I get it, 16 touchdowns to 1 interception. And yes, he's looked a little bit better throwing the ball recently. But what does that really mean? He was under 185 yards in 2 straight weeks. It's their defense can be good. Their offense can be good in moments. But what I saw from the Lions team last week, I get it was the Commanders. I'm not saying it's them beating the Commanders that changed anything for me. It was Dan Campbell holding the play sheet. Dan Campbell was calling that game. And they started off that first quarter running between the tackles every single play, it felt like. And they set up the play action off of that. They were physical. They were aggressive. And now with Campbell calling plays, they're going to go right at the Eagles, which is normally what the Eagles are used to doing to other teams. Other teams don't want to play that game with them. The Lions, with Dan Campbell calling the plays, may be the only team that will actually want to do that with them. So I could see this starting off close in the first quarter or so, or I could also see Lions opening up a big lead, forcing the Eagles to open up their playbook in a way they don't normally do, and then you're playing the Lions game at that point.
I think the Eagles' offense is horrendous. Like, it just was not good against the Packers. I don't trust that they're going to be able to score with the Lions. The one thing the Lions are going to do most of the time is score, or they're going to try to score. Like, the Eagles got to open up the playbook. Last night, you can make the case for the Packers that like they didn't open up the playbook, but neither did the Eagles. I mean, you look at how that game went. It's a big play to Devontae Smith. It's a great play by Saquon Barkley to get in a position to throw a touchdown to Devontae Smith. That's pretty much their entire offense last night. Jalen Hurts, first drive, had the great run that ended up with a fumble. That was a beautiful play call too. Probably one of the best play calls of the night. But yeah, just overall, I don't. You have AJ Brown. Why aren't you throwing the ball to him? Like, you wait till we didn't even talk about that Sirianni. on 4th and 9 or whatever, going for it at the end of the game, basically in field goal range for the Packers. And like, that's the only time you throw a jump ball to AJ Brown. Throw another one. Should have been, you got to get him at least 6, 7, 8 targets a game. You got to feed him. And I just don't think they're into it.
Meme.
No,
You just said 6, 7, 8 targets. I thought you were going for the meme.
No, I didn't do the 6. That made a come 6, 7 made a comeback. I'm very surprised.
Well, Jonathan Vilma said it twice in the game in the booth the other day.
With Trump, he tried to do he was like, how many touchdowns do you get? Like 6, 7?
Yeah.
So that one went right over his head. But yeah, so it was this is a game where the Lions, I think, offensively are just in a much better spot than the Eagles. And the Eagles are good. They're not great.
AJ Brown's receiving output this season for yards: 13, 121, 80, 43, 7, 109, 27, 8.
Crazy. Embarrassing. He's too good. You're wasting money. Like, every week he doesn't catch a pass, you're wasting money. Why are you paying him?
It's a good question. And I think they made the right decision by not trading him because he is too valuable to the team. But like you said, okay, you did the right thing. Now let's capitalize on that. Let's actually get him the football.
Yeah, definitely. It's a big spot. It's a big spot, big game. Like, this is a great primetime game. I can't wait for it. I think AJ Brown has to catch the ball. Like, if you're picking props in this game, I know we'll save that for later on, but if you're picking props in this one, you are going to pick an AJ Brown touchdown. You're going to pick AJ Brown over receiving yards. They have to throw the ball. The man is probably not showing up to practice today, like he does, or whatever day they have to show up. He ain't going to come all week unless you get him the ball. So AJ Brown touchdown. I've been great at calling AJ Brown touchdowns on the show, I will say. And I think next week is one where he's going to get one.